Good afternoon. I'm George Latimer, Westchester County Executive, and welcome to our Westchester Weekly Update. Today is Monday, May 6th, and we're happy to be with you here today in downtown White Plains to go over a host of different important issues. I have with us members of the Westchester County Board of Legislators as we sign into law an action that they were able to pass in their honorable board, made possible by our state legislative colleagues, and this is to benefit all senior citizens. And in a few minutes, we'll have our Commissioner of Senior Services and Programs, May Carpenter, join us for that signing and for that issue. We'll be talking also with our Commissioner of the Department of Community Mental Health, Michael Orth, and our good friend Bishop Lee Trollinger from Calvary Baptist Church in White Plains to talk about mental health issues and Mental Health Awareness Month. And then we also have an update on our health department, which is just getting into the summertime mode. There's a lot of work on their doorstep. Deputy Commissioner Chris Erickson is with us here today to talk about summer camps, and they have plenty of other things to worry about, pools opening and so forth. We have some Veterans Memorial Day things to mention coming up, and of course Ken Jenkins, who's with us all the way through as our Deputy County Executive, will go over some of the parks issues as well. Let me first mention a very serious issue, and that is the issue that is occurring right now on the campus of Purchase College, State University of New York, SUNY Purchase, as many of us refer to, where there has been protests regarding the issues going on in the Middle East. The Thursday night experience where there were arrests on campus were followed by 3 peaceful nights, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night. And I want to just frame out for you that the campus is under the direction of the president of Purchase College, and they report directly through the State Department of Education and the SUNY Board of Trustees. So they make decisions about how they're going to manage their campus and deal with that issue that's really sprouting up all over our nation in those ways of protest. We support free speech. There's a right for free speech, and there's a right for free assembly. But both of those rights are framed around the exercise of everybody's right for free speech and everybody's right for free assembly. So where we have free speech and that speech morphs into hate speech, we have a concern in a public policy matter. When we have free assembly, but that freedom to assemble interacts with other people's freedoms to, in this particular case, go to classes and enjoy their time at the college campus, then there are issues to be dealt with by the society. The authority to make those decisions resides, in this particular case, with the president of Purchase College. And on Thursday night, when they reached out to the SUNY Police for mutual aid, it went to all of the various police departments, including the Westchester County Department of Public Safety. Our members responded, as did other local police departments, to provide assistance, since the situation was much greater than could be handled by the SUNY Police. Any questions about those decisions should be directed to the college and their communications department, because those are where those decisions are made. The decisions over the next couple of nights de-escalated any particular concerns. There have been no arrests. There have been no violence over that period of time. We hope that any of the protests can remain peaceful and respectful. And the respect is a matter of respecting fellow students and those who are also on campus, some who are of different ethnic backgrounds, and should not be made to feel a target for the protests that are directed. If we conduct ourselves with a sense of humility and concern for each other, then we can continue to show that in Westchester we are ahead of where many other places are, where this has turned into violence and illegal and unlawful behavior. So far in Westchester, the process has been managed reasonably well. We will see what happens in the aftermath of the things that happened on Thursday. We hope for a peaceful night tonight on Monday night, and we'll see. And we'll keep you posted from that issue. To a more appropriately happy topic, and that is senior citizen property tax exemptions. I'm joined by Ken Jenkins, our Deputy County Executive. New York State Legislature made it possible to expand the qualifications for those seniors that can benefit from the exemption of or the reduction of property taxes for those senior citizens of a certain age. What they were able to do was expand the eligibility by excluding Social Security income from that adjusted gross income calculation for benefits. When you take that out, it makes it more possible for more seniors to be able to benefit from this. And in a few seconds, I'm going to ask May Carpenter to talk a little bit about that. She has been for many years, long before this administration, been the guru of all of our programs that benefit senior citizens. We see them oftentimes in social programs. We have Salute to Seniors coming up at the end of the month, but it also matters on substantive issues like that where there is a lobbying effort. This legislation was passed unanimously by the County Board of Legislators, and in a few seconds when I sign this into law, I'm going to invite the members who are here. I'll introduce them to you, and I'll ask their chairman, Vidat Gashi, to say a few words on their behalf, and as we sign this into law, to show once again the collaboration that exists between the legislative branch and the executive branch. But this program, because we are involved in the authority for taxation, must come out of New York State government, and both the Assembly and the Senate passed legislation signed by the governor to allow an opt-in provision, and that is exactly what Westchester County has done in the legislative executive branches. The benefit of this is most clear to May Carpenter, who I'm going to invite to come over here and join us at the podium. As I said, she has been responsible for spearheading our efforts for senior citizens. Now that I am one, May, I personally benefit from your leadership and your service, and perhaps you can talk a little bit about some of the pressures that our senior friends face in terms of their taxation and their income. May Carpenter.
Thank you very much, County Executive, and thank you to the members of the Board of Legislators for passing this very vital piece of legislation for seniors here in Westchester County. We're talking about over 250,000 persons over the age of 60 here in Westchester County, and over 12% are regarded as low income. Now, that's using federal numbers for who's low income and who is not. We know that in reality, there are a lot more than 12% that are low income in Westchester County because of the cost of housing. And we want to thank the county executive for advocating to get this legislation passed so that seniors no longer have to worry about eating or paying for medical care or paying rent or paying for the mortgage on their homes. This is vital. We know that housing is number one. Having a roof over your head is number one. Someone told me this weekend that someone moved into a 3-bedroom apartment in Kentucky with 2 bathrooms, and they are paying an exorbitant amount of rent. I says, what are they paying? They said $1,000. I says, well, don't tell them about Westchester County. I don't think they want to come to Westchester County. But it is so vital that we do something to relieve the pressure of the high cost of living here in Westchester County for senior citizens. And this is going to make a difference. This is going to make a major difference. We are in the courts daily with seniors who are being evicted. We have a relationship with the marshals now, so at least give us 2-day notice when you're getting ready to go evict seniors and put all their things out on the sidewalk. We have seniors who are choosing to be evicted since they can't take their pet with them to an assisted living facility. We hear these stories all the time. It's major here in Westchester County. So if we can do anything to relieve the cost of housing here in Westchester County for our older citizens, we're making a big difference in the quality of life for many people and for their family members. So thank you so much for getting this legislation passed, and we'll be glad to work with you to refer people to wherever they have to go to make sure they're not using that limited income to pay property taxes. And I want to thank Colette Phipps, who's here with me from my office. Like I said before, we've got staff in the courts every day. We've got them going out to homes in the evening. We've got them talking to the marshals who are putting their materials and their precious, valuable memories out on sidewalks. This is Westchester County. That's totally unacceptable. And we will do whatever we have to do to make sure this stops. Thank you very much, County Executive.
Hey, why don't you move over here so... Thank you, May. And it's important to understand that the Board of Legislators and our executive team have done a number of different things to try to make things more affordable for seniors as well, in some cases, for everyone. Over the course of the last 5 years, we've had a net reduction in Westchester County property tax levy. And that's for everybody. And, of course, seniors feel that benefit more than many. We've made our Beeline bus system free over the last 2 summers. And many of our seniors who are low income use that bus system for mobility to go to medical appointments, to do shopping, to go to some of the fine events that we host between the Parks Department and the Seniors Department. You may recall, not this past winter, but the winter before that, we were able to lift the sales tax on energy costs, which was a helpful situation, helped to offset some of the rise in the energy costs that happened. And when we do these things, we do them within the context of having a balanced budget. We're not putting ourselves in economic difficulty, but it takes work. And so both our executive team and the Board of Legislators have been able to combine to do those things and more, and we continue to look for additional ways to do that. So for the purposes of the bill signing, I'd like to ask some of my colleagues to come up and stand around the table with us. We're joined today by Legislator Catherine Parker from Rye. Legislator Judah, please come up as I call your name. Legislator Judah Holstein from Eastchester. Legislator Nancy Barr, former Vice Chair of the Board from Rye Brook. Legislator Jewel Williams Johnson, legislator from Greenberg. Legislator James Nolan from Yonkers. Legislator Margaret Kunzio from Mount Pleasant. Legislator and former Chairman Ben Boykin from White Plains. We have Legislator Erica Lang Pierce from Bedford. We have Legislator David Imamura from Greenberg, Irvington more specifically. We have Legislator Colin Smith from Peekskill. I'm glad we have only 17 legislators because the dais would not suffice more. The chair of the legislature, Vedad Gashi of Yorktown, is with us. And I also want to mention that we have Ken Switzer, who's representing Legislator David Tubiolo, who is en route, and we will add him to the team in a second if we can. Have I missed any legislators or representatives? Okay, if so, I'm going to move over there. I'm just going to have to squeeze into this. Thank you. We have a sign on the legislative folder that says, "Do not remove." The last time I signed one of these into law, it kind of moved on us. So, but nonetheless, this is one of those moments when people say, what does government do? Well, government accomplishes things when a legislature acts and an executive branch acts in harmony with the legislature. This legislation has been passed out of both the Committee on Legislation and the Committee on Budget and Appropriations, unanimously in both cases, and signed by those relevant members. And the legislation itself is entitled Local Law for 2024, number 159. This was passed by the Board of Legislators by 16 votes in favor, 0 votes against on the 29th day of April, certified by Sunday Vanderberg, who's the clerk of the County Board of Legislators. And by affixing my signature on this, the 6th day, and I have to do each of the different pens if I want them to be valid souvenirs. On the 6th day of May of 2024, we will have a law. 2 more pens to go. And this benefit is now officially in effect. Thank you, members of the legislature, for your signing and for your passage. I'd like to give one of the pens to May Carpenter for all of your leadership and skill. And I have 3 for the chairman, 1 for himself, and 2 for members of the majority and the minority leaders of the board to show that while we may see controversy in other places, we find common ground here in Westchester County. Mr. Chairman, would you please grace us with a few words on behalf of the legislature and accept these pens on behalf of your collective accomplishment as legislators. Chairman Vedad Gashi.
Receiving the pens and remarks. That's going to be a lot for me to handle. No, thank you to our county executive for pushing this through as quickly and showing that strong commitment to our seniors, and of course to May Carpenter. Thank you so much for the work and the advocacy you do every day. As was mentioned, on behalf of this County Board of Legislators, we passed it unanimously. I'm not a senior citizen yet, but God willing, someday I will be. This is a good thing for everybody in Westchester. This is going to make it possible for more people to be able to live and continue to stay here. And it's going to be helping those that are in greatest need. So I think it makes sense that we unanimously passed it in the Board of Legislators. I thank you for allowing me to participate here today, and we were extremely proud as a Board of Legislators to pass it. Thank you again.
And let me just say to my colleagues in the Board of Legislators, before they go on to their legislative work, I've spent, at the end of this year, 20 years in county government. 2/3 of them I spent on the 8th floor as a member of the Board of Legislators, and then the third of it here as county executive. And I don't know if there is a county executive who served previously that has a greater appreciation for the role that a legislature plays. Obviously, we don't always agree, but they don't always agree with each other. The point of democracy is to have that dialogue, to have two sides of an aisle and to have people with individual opinions. And when we come together, it shows there's a consensus on behalf of the people we represent. So I want to thank each of you for your role in making this happen. And as I say every time we do this, I look forward to being back here with you again to sign another good piece of legislation into law. Thank you. Nancy, thank you. Thanks, Margaret. Jim, Jewel, thank you. Catherine. May, thanks again for your role.
Hiding in the back.
That's okay.
See you on Wednesday.
Ken will help you. Very good. Now we'll continue. We have more work to do. This is when you need the chair's gavel, which both of us in our past have held. Next up, we want to point out now something that doesn't involve legislation, but involves very good management and leadership. That is Mental Health Awareness Month, which comes in the month of May, and we're joined by two people, both of whom are good friends and real leaders in this county in their daytime work and in what they do outside of that. We have with us here our Commissioner for the County Department of Community Mental Health, Michael Orth. And we have with us pastor of Calvary Baptist Church in White Plains, Reverend Erwin Lee Trollinger. He's had a great pastoral anniversary over the course of the last few days. I got into one of the events that he had, and it was a celebratory weekend for him. I'd like them both to stand up here, join us, and talk, if you will, Michael Orth, about what this month represents, and then the initiatives that are being done on faith-based mental health efforts by both Reverend Trollinger and Commissioner Orth. The microphone, gentlemen, is yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. And first, I want to begin by thanking our county executive for both his leadership and also kicking off May's Mental Health Awareness Month and always making mental health a priority here in Westchester County. I have the privilege of being joined by our department staff, Deputy Commissioner Joe Glazer, Bill Weitz, and Pat White. So thank you as well for joining us. We all know someone, or perhaps ourselves, who struggled with mental health challenges such as anxiety or depression. This could be due to genetic, environmental, or other social factors, such as the ripple effect of the pandemic. Our mental health crisis in this country existed way before the pandemic, with insufficient access to timely and effective services and a lack of true health insurance parity, and of course, the stigma around mental health and seeking help. Mental health awareness provides a platform to build awareness, educate, and shed light on what our Surgeon General recently reported as arguably the greatest health challenge of our time. We in Westchester have been fortunate to have a county executive, a deputy county executive, and board of legislators who have provided leadership support to really make mental health services for our residents a priority. And just a few examples, over the past few years, we've expanded effective treatment and access, which includes 72 school-based mental health satellite clinics here in our county, Project Alliance, which has a crisis component to prevent unnecessarily police response and have access to a 988 suicide and crisis line, and also applying and being successful in many grants that expand services for Westchester County residents. We've also had a focus on awareness, including mental health first aid, workplace and community forums, and also our nationally recognized faith-based mental health collaboration, which my good friend Reverend Dr. Trollinger will share more about. I did have the privilege of also going to Reverend Trollinger's anniversary on Tuesday night, and just to see the spirit of mental health and how it can be about healing and hope in a place of worship is something very unique and special here in Westchester County. Before I pass it over to Reverend Trollinger, I just want to highlight some upcoming events for May's Mental Health Month. This Saturday, NAMI Westchester will be sponsoring a walk for hope at 8:30 Saturday, May 11th at Ridge Road Park, which is also the place of our healing garden. To celebrate Children's Mental Health Awareness next Monday, May 13th at the County Center, we will be sponsoring an event on school-based mental health collaboration. And we also have several mental health first aid training and soul shop trainings going on this month. And I also want to acknowledge and thank from DCMH Bill Weitz for his daily post, which provides education and resources for our county residents. In closing, I'd like to thank our department, all of the agencies and advocates for their effort in supporting the mental health and wellness of our residents. Thank you.
I'm honored to be here. My voice is almost gone from all the celebration on this particular week. But nevertheless, mental health has now been targeted within the faith community in a brand new way. Because of the linkages between Pat White and Commissioner Orth, we are able to provide mental health training, mental health information, mental health resources within the faith community that had not been available within the faith community for a very long time. And so because of that, we now have Soul Shop for the Black Church. We also have assist training, and we have a lot of other things. And just to veer to the point of Soul Shop for the Black Church and how important it is because for a long time the African American church did not recognize mental health as something that we should deal with. Commissioner Orff helped me to remember when he came to our church a few days ago that in 2019 I approached Pat White and himself in regards to an epidemic that was happening within the faith community. That year, 11 pastors died by suicide. And if we know if the pastors are doing it, what is else happening in the community? We were able to pull together resources within our community to pull together faith leaders from all particular religious persuasions, Islamic, Catholic, Baptist, Protestant, Buddhist. We were all together in one place, and we held our first meeting in regards to mental health and the help that has now been afforded to us. On Saturday, we were able to do Soul Shop for the Black Church, not only for Westchester County. We had Westchester County, we had Queens County, we had Putnam County, and we had Nassau County that attended that workshop because of the work that is happening in Westchester. And so we are mindful that during this season of month for it being Mental Health Month, that we reach out to those most vulnerable and get them the help that they need. Thank you, Commissioner Orff. Thank you, Pat White. Thank you, County Executive, for helping us to help others within our faith communities.
Thanks very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. That's Commissioner Michael Orth of our Department of Community Mental Health and Pastor Lee Trollinger from Calvary Baptist Church. Next up, Ken is going to talk us through the next department that we want to spotlight some work being done by the Westchester County Health Department. Ken.
Thanks, George. And even though it is May and it is Mental Health Awareness Month, that also means it's getting ready for camp season as well, which is just another way for many of us to have our mental health dealt with on having activities going around. So joining us today is going to be our Deputy Commissioner of Environmental Health, Chris Erickson, to talk about the many, many, many things that the Board of Health and the Westchester County Health Department under the leadership of Commissioner Dr. Shalita Amler continue to do for Westchester County residents. Chris.
Thank you very much, Ken. Well, as was mentioned earlier, the Department of Health does do a bunch of things and on a daily basis out there to protect the residents of Westchester County. But in the summertime, for sure, we are a lot more busy. The Westchester County Department of Health inspects roughly 235 children's camps that we regulate every year. And these camps must adhere to New York State Sanitary Code and Westchester County Sanitary Code rules and regulations. We inspect these camps we do a pre-op on them, which is a pre-season before the camps actually start operating. So it's a way for us to see what's happening there. We can kind of give the camps a heads up. But we also inspect them during the season also, while kids are actually there, to make sure that they are adhering to the rules and regulations, that we get a chance to reinforce them. There are a lot of different summer camps to choose from in Westchester County. And again, these are private camps and some that are public camps out there. But all children's camps are required to tell you that they are regulated by the Department of Health. It's actually a part of something they may have in their brochure. And if you don't see it in their brochure, make sure you ask them. And you should also be able to just ask them, can I see your last inspection report, just to see what was going on there. So all these things are, by law, they have to basically tell you that they are inspected by the Department of Health. And if you have any thoughts on maybe they're not inspected, then by all means, just ask them or give our office a call, and I'll give that number later. Our typical inspections involve making sure that there is appropriate number of staff at the camp, so camper to staff ratio, and that there are appropriate first aid and CPR certifications that are happening there. And if there's a food service that's on site, that is also getting inspected by us also to make sure that complies with the state sanitary code and meets all the sanitary regulations. Additionally, if there is a pool or a beach at the camp, because some of these camps can have a pool, a beach, a camp itself, a food service, a whole bunch of different things. We're also inspecting that. We're inspecting the pool and the beach. We're making sure that they have the appropriate number of lifeguards and that those lifeguards are certified the way they're supposed to be. Most camps involve outdoor activities, which is hopefully why your children are going to these types of things. So as you're setting them off there for the day, you want to make sure that maybe they have appropriate sunblock on them, and then maybe give that sunblock to go with them during the day so they can reapply when they need to. Once your child comes home from camp, we all love being outdoors, but there are little critters out there sometimes. So this may be a time to do a daily tick check on them to make sure that they have any, if there's any ticks on their clothing or if there's actually one that has adhered to them. And you want to look in areas, on the scalp, the ears, under the arms, the back of the knees, belly button, and the waist, between the legs, all of those areas where ticks like to go to a dark, moist area. We want to make sure we get those ticks off them as soon as possible. In most cases, when a tick is on you for a short period of time, it's not going to transmit a disease, but the longer it's on there, the more chance it has of actually sending some sort of disease to you. So our goal in the Department of Health is to make sure that your children have a safe and enjoyable summer. We want to make sure that we're out there and we're inspecting those camps, but you should feel rest assured that your kids are going to these camps and that they're inspected by our Department of Health. If there are any questions about a camp, you can always call our phone number at 914-813-5000. And again, we just wish that everybody have a safe and enjoyable summer. Thank you, Ken.
Thanks, Chris. And again, our Department of Health does so many great things. Again, Chris Erickson, our Deputy Commissioner, talking about over 235 different camps that we regulate before and during the season. And certainly saying that you can call at any time to just check in the Department of Health to see if the permits are active and updated. And you should always have that happen when you are trying to find a location for your child. He was giving us a little pre-advance, County Exec, on when we usually do our Memorial Day thing, when we have Dr. Amler making sure to remind all of us with all of the great things, whether it's sunblock, et cetera, but getting ready now is absolutely a great thing. And all of those things happening right now with ticks, because there's even a different version of that. All of us are so familiar with Lyme disease from ticks, but there's some other thing happening because things morph, nature morphs all the time, and we need to continue to stay on top of that. Thanks a lot, Chris. And we'll turn it back over to County Executive.
Thanks, Ken. This is a good example of the breadth of the responsibilities of Westchester County government in general. We've just had a presentation from our Department of Health, one from our Department of Community Mental Health. We've had discussions of what our senior services programs can do. In a few minutes, Ken's going to give an update, as he always does, on our Parks Department. We began with a reference to our Department of Public Safety. These are 5 of the many, many more departments that Westchester County has to implement actual programs and services. What I want to mention is one that is always a celebratory moment, and that is our department that serves our Veteran Services Agency, headed by Ron Tochi, because we are coming close now to Memorial Day. Memorial Day, I think, is 3 weeks from today, if I'm not mistaken, and Memorial Day is celebrated generally on the last Monday of the month of May. In Westchester County, we hold ours on the Friday before Memorial Day weekend because we don't want to conflict with the local Memorial Day services that are generally held on the Monday celebrated Memorial Day. You may remember X number of years ago, Memorial Day, which was traditionally established for May 30th, was turned into a Monday holiday when other holidays were also made Monday holidays. And so the traditional Memorial Day on May 30th, some entities have an event or an activity to recognize veterans, those who made the ultimate sacrifice. But that Monday is a time for you to be in White Plains, in Yonkers, in Ossining, in Mount Kisco, where those localized services are being held. So we have our service coming up on Friday, May 24th, and that'll be at 11 a.m. It's held at our Lasden Park Arboretum and Veterans Memorial, located on Route 35 in Katona. It's actually in the town of Somers, and it's located not quite equidistantly, but if you're going north into the northern part of Westchester, either the Taconic or 684 will have an exit for Route 35 that you can use to go west or east to get to Lasden Park. And that event will also be featured on Facebook Live on this page, the one that you're watching us on now, facebook.com/Westchester. We look forward to a very respectful service. Ron will have a number of veterans there to remember that Memorial Day, a little bit different from Veterans Day. Memorial Day, we recognize those individuals that in the service of their country have made the ultimate sacrifice, that they gave up their lives while in the service of their country, and that is the greatest sacrifice that anybody can make. And in some ways, we tend to forget that sacrifice. We have not had a broad-based military call-up since World War II. Vietnam was a significant response of the community, but we've had a volunteer army since. And many brave men and women died subsequent to that in other actions and activities. We owe it to them to remember every single one of them. And that is part of what we'll be doing on that date, Friday, May 24th. Put it on your calendar if you're available, 11 o'clock in the morning at Lasden. And then also check with your local government, your town hall, village hall, city hall, and find out when the Memorial Day services are going to happen in your community. Because given the fact that the ultimate sacrifice was made by these individuals, we should sacrifice an hour or two over the course of a weekend to remember them for what they've done. Next up, Ken and the parks.
Thanks, Judge. And right back at Lasden Park and Arboretum in Katona, there are gardening Tuesdays, every Tuesday from 10 to 12 p.m., and that's giving you an opportunity to enhance your gardening skills and plant knowledge by working side by side with gardeners at Lasden Park, and that's every Tuesday right through November 26th. Again, Lasden Park is very busy with the activities that they have, not just having the outstanding memorials that we have up there for our veterans. Patterns in Nature is going to be there from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. That's going to be Thursdays through Sundays, right through August 31st, and that's giving you a chance to explore tapestry of patterns that can be found everywhere in this interactive exhibit and flower show. Again, it goes Thursdays through Sundays right through August 31st. And the outstanding Park and Read program, just in our spring version of the Park and Read program, Rosie Finizio and a great team of folks doing the Park and Read, doing the captivating Spring Read Aloud program. You'll be able to join us every week at Lasden Park and Arboretum as we bring stories to life, creating an enriching experience for our children, ages 3 to 6, in the main house living room. That also happened on May 16th and May 23rd. And then we'll flip to our summer program for Park and Read. You never know what great guest reader that you're going to get up there. It might be the county legislator, the chairman of the board who represents that area. It could be Erica Lang Pierce, who also represents right on the line of Lasden Park and Arboretum, or it could be the county executive or deputy county executive coming in to do some reading to the children 3 to 6, 11 a.m. to 11:45. You have to be there with a parent or guardian. You can't just drop off the young children, even though Lasden Park has a lot of other great things that have happening. Commissioner Orth mentioned the NAMI Walk at Ridge Road Park. That's going to be this Saturday. NAMI Walks 8:30 to 11:30 a.m. And join us for this largest community awareness event for mental health in our region for the Day of Hope. This special day supports mental health and physical health. Without one, you can't have the other. And certainly if you want to register as a team captain, a team member, or an individual, or make a donation or sponsor the event, make sure to take a look on our county website under parks.westchestergov.com. That's always a great activity. I know we'll be by at the kickoff, Commissioner Orth, and we'll get our walk on again for NAMI Walks Westchester, 8:30 to 11:30 a.m. this coming Saturday. And finally, we kicked it off for Bicycle Sundays, the 50th anniversary of Bicycle Sundays on the Barks River Parkway, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. That's the 13 miles, 6.5 up, 6.5 down. So it's a 13.1 mile loop from White Plains to Scarsdale Road, County Center in White Plains, to South Scarsdale Road in Yonkers, and many points of entry along the way. Certainly, we have some great events going on with our partners, like in Scarsdale, where their weekend activities, their farmers markets are doing everything possible. Motor-powered vehicles are prohibited, but bicycles or skates or rolling, whatever ways that you want to do that to participate, a great partnership with our friends from the Westchester Park Foundation and the sponsors, Con Edison, New York Presbyterian Hospital, and our friends at Chen Cycle. So right every Sunday, May, June, right through July, we were able to get that locked in after the pandemic, County Executive, and then it kicks off back again in September, right through October 6th. Again, that's all the events that are happening in the parks. Back to you, George.
Thanks very much. Thank you very much, Ken. We'll wrap this up. A couple of other things worth noting. Today is one of the most somber days on the calendar for our Jewish brothers and sisters. It is the day of Holocaust remembrance, Yom HaShoah. A number of public events are happening through various Jewish synagogues, shuls, temples. There was an event in the Garden of Remembrance here in downtown White Plains. This is the remembrance of the horror that was inflicted during the 1940s by the Nazi regime in Germany and all across Europe to commit true genocide in wiping out the Jewish presence in Europe. 6 million people killed. There were others as well that were caught up in the killing of the Holocaust, but it was targeted to destroy the Jewish population. For those survivors and those who are children of survivors, this is a very heart-wrenching day. The stories of those who are still with us at an advanced age but can tell about what it was like to be in Auschwitz or Dachau or any of the other places that were killing farms is such a sober moment for all of us. And we extend to our Jewish brothers and sisters that sense of grief and sympathy for that terrible situation. There's been inhumanity to man all across the globe. Killing fields of Cambodia, the horrible realities of Rwanda, 30 years now in the distance, the Turkish genocide over the Armenian people, and sometimes we make the evil banal because it isn't real to us. It isn't seeing in direct correlation the death that's been created by this systematic effort. But we hope that each of us will take a contemplative moment today to consider that. And whatever our worship tradition is, that we pray to who we see as the Almighty to help guide this world and guide us as human beings away from this behavior, away from evil and contentiousness to the best of our ability. This is also an interesting day for me in my remembrance. This May 6th is a birthday of two people that meant a lot to me in my life. One of them was because of my mother, and that is the great baseball player Willie Mays. Today is Willie Mays' 93rd birthday. He is still with us, and he is routinely considered one of the 5 greatest players to play the game, along with the likes of Babe Ruth and others. I had the chance to meet him once about 40 years ago, but he was a big fan of my mother because my mother and her family were New York Giants fans, not the football Giants, but the baseball Giants that used to play at the Polo Grounds, and of course they moved to San Francisco. That's how I first saw Willie Mays on television, playing for the San Francisco Giants. But my mother would come in while I was watching the Mets, and she'd say, "How's my boy Willie doing?" And Willie's doing just fine. A great man at the age of 93. We wish him a happy birthday. There's so many wonderful athletes that give us pleasure, the Knicks and the Rangers right now for us New York fans. And I was reminded that there's one other person in my life that celebrated today as a birthday, and that is my father, Stan Latimer. He always told me he was 20 years older than Willie Mays, and he'd ask me how he looked, and I said, "Dad, you look great." I never told him he never looked as great as Willie Mays. He's my father. But the bottom line is, were my father alive today, he would be 113 years of age, which is pretty tough to imagine. We lost him in his early 80s. But I've always had the correlation between Willie and my dad because of the way he portrayed it. And now his son is approaching the age that he was at the time that he left us. But it is important to remember It's important to remember good times, and it's also important to remember sobering times. It is what links us to the past and hopefully prepares us for the future. I'm George Latimer, Westchester County Executive. Thank you for watching. We hope you have a good week ahead, a safe week. We intend to be back here next Monday to give you an update and have some other guests join us. But in the meantime, again, have a good week ahead.